Yesterday, Mojang released a new preview version of the game for Minecraft Bedrock, which introduced the Allay, a brand new upcoming mob in the Wild update. Today I'm going to talk about what we know about this new mob and how this might affect Superflat players. Back in October 2021, we saw the third mob vote, where Minecraft players all around the world got to vote on a choice of 3 mobs. 2017 brought us the infamous Phantom, 2020 brought us the also infamous Glow Squid, and 2021 brought us the Allay. The other contenders were the Copper Golem and the Glare, but after only the first round of voting, it was clear who the favorite was. Copper Golem stands, please don't hurt me. I'm just the messenger, man. I'm just telling it like it is, okay? I will not disclose who I voted for. It was the Allay. Now, beyond what Mojang said in the initial announcement video, information has been scarce about the Allay for a while. This is pretty much all we knew.
If you give an Allay an item, it will collect matching ones for you. It also loves music, so if there's a note block nearby, that's where it will drop them.
But now that we finally have a way to see the Allay in game, we can really dig into how this mob will look when it comes out. At least you should be able to. See, for some reason, I cannot get the Allay into my preview version of Minecraft Bedrock. Hopefully I can figure that out so I can see it for myself, but I tried for like an hour tonight and I just couldn't do it. I was watching X's update video and it sounds like he was having similar problems.
I had a huge headache getting this to work. Unfortunately, my computer seems to be messed up when it comes to getting access to the latest betas.
So I'm gonna be using some of X's footage from that video just so we can discuss the new mob. X, if you're watching, hopefully that's okay with you. I would love to get his approval first, but it's very hard to contact such a big YouTuber. So link to his video is in the description. Go watch that first. So the first thing to discuss is how the mechanics described in Mojang's announcement video actually function. From X's video, we can see that you can right-click them with an item and then they'll start collecting that item. They seem to be able to pick up a stack at a time, potentially even more. Then you can play a note block near the Allay to tell it where to drop the blocks off. And in his video, X cleverly demonstrated that you can use a hopper minecart to pick up items through the note block. His video is full of great tests. He found out that they seem to have 8 hearts of health. They're completely passive. They never seem to attack the player. There's no XP or item drops when you kill them, at least not yet. There's no sounds for them yet, and it doesn't appear that leads work on them. They also seem to follow you around pretty closely once you've given them a block, almost like when you tame a parrot. But one of the biggest new things we learned about the Allay was how it appears in the world. In my last video, we discussed ideas for how you could make every mob in the game available to survival Superflat players, and I mentioned this idea for the panda. You'll notice at pillager outposts, they sort of keep iron golems in cages. Maybe pillagers also keep panda bears in cages. Pillagers are jerks, panda bears are an endangered species. Yeah, that's something they would do. It's a huge coincidence because it turns out Mojang had the exact same idea, but for the Allay. The Allay can be found locked up in a cage by the pillagers in both woodland mansions and pillager outposts. Now, woodland mansions are unfortunately not available on Superflat worlds. In fact, usually Superflat worlds only get villages. Unless you play on Bedrock, in which case they are completely structureless. And just a quick aside here, I've had a lot of sad people in my comments lately expressing that they wish they could get the Superflat Survival experience on Bedrock Edition. I've also heard that structures used to generate in Superflat worlds on Bedrock Edition in the past. So Mojang, if you're listening, give the poor Bedrock players what they demand and what they deserve. Give them structured Superflat worlds. But anyways, as I was saying, usually Superflat worlds only get villages, but we recently discovered that the 1.18.2 update totally changed this. Now Superflat worlds are able to generate with not only villages, but abandoned portals, mine shafts, strongholds, and even pillager outposts. That's right, this might just mean that the Allay will be obtainable in Java Superflat Survival. Now, I don't want to get too excited, and here's why. The reason that 1.18.2 introduced all of these new structures into Superflat is that Mojang redid the way structures work in the game in order to add some new features, including the place feature command, which is really cool if you haven't tried it out. Previously, Superflat presets were hard-coded to include only certain structures and not others. And my working theory is that when Mojang redid the structures for the game, they simply forgot to correct the Superflat generation to once again prevent unintended structures from spawning. Now that all the structures are unlocked, so to speak, anything that meets spawn requirements seems to appear. That explains why it matters what version you start your Superflat world in. You see, if you start in 1.18 or 1.18.2, the world generates at y-64 due to the lowered height limit in 1.18. This is actually too low for most structures to spawn, and so you end up only getting villages and strongholds. But if you start out in 1.17 or earlier, the world generates at y0, meaning that the spawn requirements for abandoned portals, mineshafts, and pillager outposts are also met. Now, here's the issue. This was obviously a bug, and not something Mojang intended to happen, I'm guessing. It could be the case that by the time 1.19 comes out, Mojang will have once again hard-coded Superflat worlds to only generate with the structures that are intended. Now, I wasn't worried about this at all until now. All you'd have to do is make sure to explore plenty of those structures before Mojang patches the game, and you could get plenty of pillager outposts to turn into raid farms, you could get a stronghold to go to the end, glowberries and cave spiders from the mine shafts, and plenty of abandoned portals, some of which conveniently break bedrock when they generate so you can actually build lower. But any pillager outposts you generate before the Allay is officially in the game obviously aren't going to contain these new Allay cages. And so if Mojang does patch the structure thing before the Allay makes it into the game, we could be locked out. Now, it's still very early on to panic. We have no idea whether the Allay will only spawn in woodland mansions and pillager outposts, or if Mojang has some other plans for how you might be able to find them in the world. So right now, all we can do is wait and see. But based on the mechanics we know now, it could turn out that a lot of redstone contraptions and farms use the Allay in the future. And there's already a few things in Superflat like snow golems and coral fans that totally lock you out of making a bunch of cool mob farms and redstone contraptions. In fact, in the past, I've definitely gotten halfway through tutorials before realizing that I can't actually finish them because of something I don't have access to. Pain. So Mojang, if you are aware of the structure glitch in 1.18.2 Superflat worlds, just don't worry about it. Everything's fine. You could totally fix it later, There's always 1.20. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this update video. If you did, please leave a rating. Consider subscribing for more videos like this coming up. I'm definitely going to be covering a lot of the new updates for 1.19 and trying to figure out which of these things are going to make it into Superflat. Anyways, guys, that's it for me. Take care.